when I hear Oakland, I'm thinking about the Black Panther Party for self-defense. So, there's a tremendously long history of people organizing in this community and movement building in this community. There was a groundwork laid that created the space for that kind of organizing to happen. There's probably tons of leaders that were in position to organize the community. When I looked at what happened in Ferguson, and even now when you look at what happened in Louisville, when we went on the ground, the same thing happens. Tons of money dropped into a particular community. And initially what that causes, a tremendous amount of infighting. And while that infighting is happening, you know what happens? There's a bunch of organizers in Louisville who were murdered. And people, I don't know how this happened. If you look at what happened with the Panthers and in Oakland and across the movement, there was COINTELPRO. The government infiltrated the movement and created divisiveness in the movement. And some of that was through money. Some of that was through organizations. Some of that was through agent provocateurs. They have a very sophisticated approach to dismantle us. Anytime there's a moment that happens where we do get visibility and we're able to create attention, it's a moment where we can transform the system. It's the moment when we can actually, I always say it all the time, you have to build a system to confront the system. There's no way around it.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Roxane Johnson. My son's name is Jamal Bird. He was killed by DC Metropolitan Police Department on October 1st, 2019. I'm here with my lovely co-host, LaToya. Good evening, LaToya. How are you doing this evening?
Tuesday evening again, you guys. Good evening. Unfortunately, but fortunately, we are here again this Tuesday evening. My name is LaToya Benton. I am the mother of Xavier Hill. Xavier was killed by two Virginia State troopers on January the 9th, 2021 at the age of 18. Tonight, we are joined by the wonderful Rebecca. Rebecca, do you want to go ahead and give a brief introduction of yourself, please, and who your son is?
My name is Rebecca Duran. I'm the mother of Donovan Lewis, who was murdered by police here in Columbus, Ohio on August 30th of 2022. We're currently in a fight to get some sort of justice for him.
We're, Rebecca, we're so sorry for your loss, of course.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we know how this feels, right? Tell us a little bit about what happened to your son.
So my son Donovan did have some warrants for arrest. The way that the media listed them was not what they actually were. Of course, they went to sensationalize everything, but he did have a warrant for arrest. They showed up at his house roughly 2:30 in the morning to arrest him. They knocked on the door for quite some time. There's a period of time where they don't identify themselves as who they are. They end up saying who they are. There were some other people in the house also asleep who finally answered the door, but even they were scared to answer the door. They told them that their hands were up and that basically the police could open the door. They got those boys out, handcuffed them, and had them on the ground just outside the door. Moments later, the police entered the apartment with a dog and threatened to release the dog, threatened to tase him if he didn't come out, all of these things. They opened the door. Well, Ricky Anderson is the officer who fired. He opened the door and within less than a second fired a shot that ultimately killed my son. So in less than a second, they were hollering at him to put his hands up and all these things, and he was fatally wounded. Once he was shot, they did not provide any type of aid to him. They flipped him around on the bed. They stripped him naked on camera. Of course, all of this is happening. They still never they hollered for somebody to go grab some gloves or whatever. somebody said they didn't have cuffs. Like, it was crazy. It's just crazy. And then they decided to carry him out before paramedics arrived. They dropped him on the steps. Like, they did everything wrong. It was, I think the final count, it was 6 minutes before they actually applied any pressure to the wound. And the rest.
Well, Rebecca, real fast, I want to just interrupt you because I know I read online. From what I was reading online, Donovan only had a vape pen.
Yeah. And that was visible.
One time, Rebecca.
No, so what it was is he was in the bed. He was asleep. They didn't see the vape pen until they're flipping him over in the bed.
Wow. So after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
See,
so
I think
I went into the apartment days later. They tried to cover their ass, or am I allowed to say that? They tried to cover their behinds. They tore through the dressers, like looking for false bottoms and everything. There was, in the apartment that they lived in, there was patches in some of the walls. They tore the patches out of the walls, trying to find a weapon or something. They had nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And it was a vape pen that was in the bed, but it was never visible until after they had already shot him.
I feel a lot of times too, we find that I'm sorry, Sam, I just want to say real fast that I know a lot of times we find that these officers try to use information they did after the fact to try to justify what they did. And they're not supposed to do that. That's supposed to be totally illegal.
Well, so unfortunately, another one of my kids' vapes, it was exactly this brand, this style vape. That doesn't look like a gun to me. I mean,
Either.
Look, Rebecca. They were there to see the warrant. They were not judge, jury, and executioner.
that's my exact words.
This is the thing. When I say, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, but I'm just saying, we have been culturally conditioned to think that the police are right and we are wrong automatically. And so what we do is we get into this defense mode.
Mm-hmm.
Your son did not deserve to die over a damn warrant. Period.
And that's what I say.
Period. After that, nobody deserves to die over issuing a warrant. A warrant says that the judge wants to see you. Your job, police officer, is to get
to the judge
to go to see the judge.
Absolutely.
Not to be the executioner.
You know, I said those exact same words shortly after he was murdered. So it's not funny. It's interesting that you said the same thing. I was like, he still deserved his day in court, no matter if he really did have warrants for the things that they claimed.
And so then
the media takes the time to make sure. It's the media, you know that, right? And the media automatically creates a narrative where they want to pull out everything about our kids. And as we often say, the media loves to villainize the victim. It happens in every case. Every case, Roxane, am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is that the police create the crises that then they have to go back and try to contain. So
one of the warrants that they claim they were there to serve on him was, they said, for a felony gun charge, improper handling of a firearm. What it actually was a habeas corpus, which means he did not show up to court because they sent it to an address that he did not live at. So he never was physically served. He didn't know about it until after it had passed. And the thing about it is that he was a passenger in a car that there was a gun found. And he said from that moment when the police, I got to watch the body cam from that arrest, that he was like, that's not my gun. I never touched it. Check the prints. And he sat quiet the entire ride to go get booked for it because the other person ran. Before they ever went to go serve that warrant, they had already ran the prints on the gun and it matched the boy that ran. So they knew it wasn't a felony gun charge. It was for not showing up to court for the case.
Even still, like what James just said, though, no matter what they knew the charges for or not, I want to talk about the action of the officers that night. You know what I mean? Because that is why they're on trial for right now. If y'all didn't hear her say it already, these officers were indicted for killing Donovan. Melissa, I'm not sure we have a picture of him or not, but I would love to show a picture of Donovan Lewis on the screen. It is important for us to put a face with a name. This is Donovan, and there's Rebecca with Donovan. There's her son, a beautiful son. We want to put a name with a face, as always, you guys. Again, we want to get a background of what happened to Donovan, but we want to always stay focused on the actions of the officers because of his poor actions and negligence. If we don't keep fighting for justice, I hate to say it, it could be anybody else to the call right now. That's the main thing. So,
Yes.
Rebecca, what's going on right now with the indictment?
He bonded out the day after he was in.
Do you know?
I have heard it was an ex-wife. I don't know that for fact. That's what I've heard.
How much was it? Do you know how much it was?
Say it again, because you were muffled. I'm sorry.
No, Jackson, do you know how much the bond was?
So the bond amount was 50,000, 500,000 plus. So what he paid was 50,000 to get out. And then he spent the weekend. I mean, that's the only good thing. He spent the weekend in jail, and then he bonded out the Tuesday after.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's crazy because, like, if I go and kill my husband tonight, I can't bond on the jail.
Right.
You know, and it's stuff like that. That's kind of like, how do you get bonded out of jail? I go to the whole town right now. I can't get bonded out of jail. So let's move fast forward. When is that court coming up, Rebecca?
So we don't have any firm dates. What I do know is that October 3rd, there is a court date set up for it's to sign a trial date. That, and then that's all we know at this point.
That's on the criminal side, right?
Yes, we currently have a civil case going at the same time. And depositions start of the officers on October 3rd also.
Yeah, so before we got started with the call, we're just discussing how, as you all just heard Rebecca say, she has 2 court dates on the exact same day. Unless she got a magic twin behind her, she can clone herself. She cannot be in 2 places at one time. If we have these conversations, one, to make people aware of the cases that are going on in other states versus your own backyard, and 2, to also spread the word as far as where the help is needed at when it comes to community support. Rebecca has to be in dispositions on September the 3rd as far as her civil case is concerned. Granted, on the criminal side, it's like a pre-trial hearing. It might be a short hearing. It is imperative for the community to show up for this family. It's imperative. I'm not sure who's all. Rebecca, what state are we in again? I'm sorry.
And we're in Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. So I'm not sure who is possibly on the call who is from Columbus, Ohio. And even if you're not, we have Facebook. We got TikTok, we got Instagram. Y'all, please reach out to the activists and let them know we have a family who is in need of court support on September the 3rd for her criminal indictment of the officers who killed her son, Donovan Lewis. When I talk about court support on her civil side, she's got that already taken care of. We need court support on the criminal side. Oftentimes we see that officers are not indicted and we don't get the opportunity of going to court. A lot of injustices happen in empty courtrooms. Please, I ask you guys, do not let us go to court alone. Roxane, you want to chime in on that?
I would say just to get the be clear about the dates. Is it October the 3rd or September the 3rd? October the 3rd. Okay.
October 3rd.
Yeah, so perhaps we can put something on our website to remind people when it gets closer, and do a quick like flash or something as it gets closer. But she's in Columbus, Ohio, so we got audience members who live in that area, Columbus and surrounding areas. Show up and support the sister as she's seeking accountability and justice for her son. And as LaToya said, very seldom are these people held accountable for their actions. So we, as showing up as citizens, are saying that we are concerned and we want to see the accountability and the justice for this mother, for this family, what they deserve for the unjust killing of her child.
And I just want to say one more time too as well, people got to realize that it's not just Rebecca who cares about her son. It's not Roxane who cares about her son. You care about Xavier. When you're fighting for your community, oftentimes people say, I'm an activist. Well, you're not an activist unless you're exempt for what's going on in the community. Because if that's the case, you're fighting for your rights as well. So if you are in Columbus, Ohio, and we're telling you all court support is needed for an officer who's going to be indicted on charges, or we'll see the officer get indicted, right? And they get like a couple of years as far as a heinous crime is concerned. When I'm murder somebody, I'm going to jail for life, not without even getting parole. But these officers are going to jail for a couple of months, they might get a fine. A lot of times because they think only the family cares. No, the community cares as well. But you guys got to show up. That's what it is. The hearing might be 10 or 15 minutes. Show up and show support for this family. That's super, super, super important.
And case in point, the police officer that killed Dante Wright, I think it was in Minneapolis, Kim Porter, in and out of jail already. She barely did. She did less than 2 years for taking someone's life. Taking someone's life. And that's, so we need to apply pressure. We need to apply pressure and let these people know that now we interrupting their system and we coming up with a new system that says you're going to be accountable for your behavior.
Yes.
Anything else you would like to let us know, Rebecca?
No, just, I mean, any support is appreciated. The 1 year mark is coming up. We plan on doing like a vigil in front of the State House. It'll just be more like a silent prayer type situation, but it is open to anyone who's lost someone to homicide. The reason why we'll be there is because of Donovan, but it affects all of us. I mean, I've said that over and over again.
And she earlier, Rebecca did say as well that flyer is not yet ready. But it's ready by tomorrow. We'll post it as well for you guys to remember. What is the actual 1 year mark? What's the actual date?
August 30th.
Oh, so it's coming around the corner. Okay. So August 30th, you guys, please be sure to as well look up on Facebook on August 30th date. Send us some love. Those days hit differently. Sometimes we think we are more stronger than what we are. And so that mark does hit, we're kind of like, the realization actually like really hits you, like, that you're actually still going through the process of this a year later. And it's crazy because it's like it's a year later on August 30th, but you're just getting started with court. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that cycle is an ongoing cycle for these families, you all, and realize that this isn't stop for us. We can't cut it off. And like I said again, just because you're not personally impacted on a personal basis, you should still be fighting for justice, because just like Bill is sitting here right now, it could be any of you guys at all at this point in time. If we do not continue to fight for systemic change.
I say all the time.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Go, please. No, you're good.
I say all the time, like when a family member dies or someone that you care about, you have your funeral, you do your process, you grieve, and you get to put it away to wherever it's going to live with you. For us, like in my case, it's only been a year. There's another family here that they're going into their 3rd year, where you constantly have to keep reopening that wound and discussing it, because you don't want anybody to forget about it. You want to hold them accountable and get some sort of justice, whatever that looks like for each family. But you don't get to put it away. You don't get to pack it away. You keep pouring salt in that wound every time you have to discuss it. And so the process gets delayed. Your healing gets delayed.
Literally, and the sad part about it, like you just said, as families, as long as we continue fighting, there is no healing. It sucks because like the way the system is set up so that we continue to fight. Either you're fighting or you're discouraged and that you don't fight. So the woman's gonna still be there. So yeah, it's an ongoing process, but we're gonna still be in this together. That's the whole point of having these phone calls to build the communities up. We gotta, like Roxane said before, we gotta build a system to fight the system. We gotta make the time for that. Like I said again, y'all, court is October the 3rd, right?
Yes.
October the 3rd. Says one more time. She has court October the 3rd for her civil case and for her criminal case. Rebecca is one person. We are asking the community to please show up in numbers in order to represent this family. Keep in mind, it's not just about Donovan's case. It's about how the police treat us as citizens. You should all be concerned about what's going on with these cases.
Agreed.
And the more that we show up, the more that they will see that we're not just gonna let them do what it's not gonna be business as usual.
Mm-mm.
It can't be. This has to stop. This has to stop. I think I saw something on our page that said, to date, as of this day in 2023, there's already been 612 police
Mhm.
killings. 600. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yep.
Unacceptable.
No, there are a lot, but I think too that the starting part though is that how many have not been indicted?
Yes.
That's a staggering number, right? When you got all these cases going on here, and there's no way in the world that I'm convinced, and MIT can be convinced that everyone feared for their life out of 600 people, out of
Yeah.
all these people. You know, so at what point in time they keep continually violating our constitutional rights? We as people, we have to be more concerned about what's going on. And again,
Look
a
at
lot
that.
of justice happening in the courtrooms.
The number has gone up. It's now 725.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see at the top of
That's
this.
crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy. And
Absolutely.
you all, if you're on this site, you see what Mel is putting right here. You can also go to I think it's called policemapping.com. Back there, is that right?
Yep. Police mapping,
And
police mapping police violence. .us.
and it might can use that website. It kind of breaks down from where you're at for your state, and it kind of shows you exactly what's going on in your state as far as the police, what the cases. A lot of times, the cases don't go on the news. They don't go on the news unless it's like big media cases or whatever. But these cases happen all the time. And what I also found too is that you have a lot of they kill Black people at a higher rate. But what it is too is that when you got the poor whites and Mexicans, they just go like under the rug for real. Like it's like non-existent. It's like a whole other ball game.
Oh my gosh. Here in Columbus, I got pulled. So I speak Spanish and English. And so I got pulled into a group of families that, to be honest, I never heard their family member's name. Some of the situations I didn't even hear about what happened on the news, or they may announce it at the initial, like when the incident occurs, but then you never hear about it again. And the thing about it is that some of these families come from countries where if you speak out, you get killed. Like, so whether it be they're afraid to speak out to get, be killed for speaking out, or they're afraid to speak out for some of them, their, legal status in the United States is not, they don't have it, or it's in process, and they're afraid to speak out for that too. So they need people to be their voice when they can't. There's so many more cases here that most people have never even heard of.
And that's something again, like I say to all the time. Yes, we can focus on. People can focus on Black, Black, white, whatever. Not. It's police brutality at a whole. Period. It's a whole period across the United States, period. And like I said again, we have been, in a certain sense, they separate us because they'll say, I'm a Black woman, you're a white, no, I'm sorry, what are you, Hispanic, Rebecca?
No, I'm white, I'm white.
You're white, okay, so you're a white woman. Not what I'm saying is this, so we still lost our sons to the hands of the police. We're still dealing with the exact same damn problem. That's what I'm saying. But the world has made it where it's only a Black and white problem. No, the police are killing us. That's what's happening.
I agree that it does affect socioeconomics, people like lower income families, but the bottom line is that for people of color, Donovan was Black. He identified as Black. Like his ID, everything said Black. So they didn't know who his mama was when they killed him. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And they didn't care, Rebecca.
They did not. They did not. It could have been me in that bed, and they still would have shot within that same second. So
it's still the raggedy ass police.
In a low income neighborhood is where he lived. It was a high crime, but they didn't find anything. There was no drugs, no weapons, no nothing that they tried to find to cover themselves. But none of that matters. Like he didn't do anything to warrant the response.
And at the end of the day, their job was to serve the warrant, and his job was to go to court. So
exactly.
that was so that's a protocol you got to fill out. So at the end of the day, the police are not there to do all three. You do one job. Do your one job.
Yeah. And I would just like to address a comment you made about people who, you know, feel like they don't have a voice or afraid to speak out because of you know, they perceive that they will have some consequences, some negative consequences to speaking out. Join with us.
Mhm,
Voice, we can protect one another, because
mhm.
I don't know, I won't speak for LaToya, I can speak for myself. What you have taken from me, is no way I can be quiet. I will never
Mhm.
shut up. I will never give
Mhm.
up. I will never let up, because what you took from me, I can never get back. And
Yep.
because of that, I must speak out. It's not even a thought in my mind. And for those of you who feel that you know, feel that you've been marginalized in some way, or that you can't speak out, join with us, join with this movement that we're creating. And we will speak out with you. We will stand next to you. We'll support you, because
Mhm.
we're about what? Action. We
Yes.
we're not just, you know, bumping our gums. We want to make changes, systemic changes to this police enterprise. They
Absolutely.
are along with this, they have gotten away with this for far too long. And we're saying enough is enough.
Mhm. Absolutely. I say that Donovan would have done anything to protect me or to fight for me. It's my turn to do the same for him. I
Yeah,
refuse
same
to be
thing.
quiet too.
Mhm,
Got it.
mhm. And that's what it is. And people gotta realize too now, we're just now getting started with the fight. I think people think I say it all the time. I'm gonna keep saying this. People actually understand that the civil rights movement was about like 60, well, I think it was 59 years ago. It was only 59 years ago, okay? Only 59 years ago. Yo, guys, it's not a very long time. Some of our parents are only like 65. Like my dad is like 65. So that means
Mm.
the civil rights movement happened. He was 4 years old. So the mentality of people that are still in office right now, the police still had the exact same mindset. There's no way in the world that you guys can say because it happened to you, you're not bothered what's going on in these cases. So please, again, before we end this call tonight, look Donovan's name up. His name is Donovan Lewis. Donovan Lewis, Lewis. Look the case up. The officer was indicted. Once again, it happens far too often where they press charges, and because the empty courtroom, they don't have, and even in the full courtroom, sometimes whatnot, right? They still do the wrong damn thing. So what we're saying is that don't let us stand and fight alone. We're asking you guys to please do not let us fight alone. Please join in the fight and do us right.
That's right. That's
For
right.
sure.
Well, we want to thank you, Rebecca, for being a part of our podcast. Our condolences, and you know that the 1 year commemoration of your son's transition is coming up. Please take care of yourself. Be gentle. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you for shedding some light on his situation. And I, in turn, will be more than happy to try and represent for anyone else as well. I don't know if it's okay to say it, but like I created an Instagram for
Yeah.
Donovan specifically where I post updates in the case. He left behind a grandson, my grandson, Donovan
Oh,
Jr.
really?
Yes.
How
So
old is his grandson?
he's 5 months now.
Really?
Yeah, she was pregnant when he was murdered.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I'll have to share you a picture with you of him. He's beautiful. Had the blessing
Oh,
I didn't know I needed.
bless your heart.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Wow.
so with that being said, I do post pictures of him there. I post events that we have coming up, mutual aid within the community, those kind of things for anybody who happens to be in Franklin County or nearby. I try and share all those things as well.
This is
It's
on
hashtag
Instagram.
it's hashtag justice number 4 Donovan Lewis.
All right. What I'll do too as well, you guys, as always, I'll put it on our page as well, on all our pages. Please go on Instagram, follow her page for Jonathan Lewis. If you're in the community, be sure to support. Please make sure you show that beautiful baby as well, you guys. Keep in mind, she's doing this for her grand. Is he up there on the page up there?
Yeah, he is. If you scroll down, There,
Oh,
that's him trying to eat his toes at the doctor's office.
oh,
Oh, oh my God.
he's
He's
those cheeks.
beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I think there's one further down where he has, there. That's him.
Oh,
He is gorgeous.
I mean, I think so. I might be partial, but
no, he's a gorgeous baby.
Yes.
He's a gorgeous baby. Is his name
But
Is he a junior?
yes, Donovan Jr. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, junior. Okay. Okay. All right, you guys are coming to court for little junior, you all, and for Donovan as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course, Rebecca, at any point in time you need this at all, make sure you give us a call, you guys. You all listen to Life After the Impact. Be sure to please follow Rebecca's page on Instagram. If you are in Ohio on October the 3rd, we're going to share on our page as well, so you know the exact place the court's going to be held at. So don't you have to remember it. It's like another month from now. But just put it in your brain, October the 3rd, 10 to 15 minutes. You're not asking for the whole day. 10 to 15 minutes, please come to court and support this family.
Thank you.
Life After the Impact. Good night. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Blessings.
A lot of injustice happens in empty courtrooms.
That's right.
And I don't know about you, you know, most of us have either had loved ones or may have been involved in the injustice system ourselves. Let us start to be the eyes and ears and show up, put our bodies on the line in that way. Make us to come, you know, if you can be there, because when people see that we are serious about showing up, they can't just shuck and jive, because it's too many people sitting there witnessing the shucking and jive.
Please send me that soundbite.